Hi, in this tutorial we will study some basic SQL queries and from our textbook these are some of the instances that they make a reference when they are solving the queries. So we will go over those when as needed. This is something important about the very basics about an SQL query. We will need the select clause and the from clause at least to have a valid SQL query. Now, in the from, we have the relation list, which is the tables that we're gonna need, and this is also similar as doing when we have more than one, doing the Cartesian or the cross product on those relations. Then the target list, which attributes are the one that we want to see. This is similar to what we did in relational algebra with the pi that we're listing the operators. Now remember that in relational algebra when we're doing the projection, we say we don't have any repeated results. However, in SQL we need to be specific if we don't want any results to be duplicated, and we can put that as using the distinct keyword, and the square brackets mean this is optional. I mean, sometimes we don't need that. The where clause, which is not needed in a very basic SQL query. So for a query, we have to have a select and we have to have a from. We don't have to have a where. Now in the where this is equivalent to what we do with the sigma, and we got some constraints or some restrictions, so that's what we call the qualification. Now here explains the evaluation strategy. What it means is, what is it that we do first? Well, first is compute the cross product, and then once we have the cross product of the tables that are listed in the from, then we eliminate the ones that will be indicated by the sigma, the selection, the qualifications, and then we do the pi. And then if that's the case, then we do the distinct to do the to 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 eliminate the duplicate rows, right? Now, this is maybe not the most efficient way to solve queries, and then there is another topic about query optimization, that the best way is that we define some strategies with the algebra in which we have to do the sigmas and the pi as soon as possible, but this is not the topic that we want to discuss right now. Okay, so here is just illustrating the concept of the evaluation. So here, for example, we got table sailors and reserves, and after that we go back to the data that was presented here. And then what we have here is that we do the Cartesian product, which is this, which was also illustrated when we were studying relational algebra. Once we do the Cartesian product, then the next step is to eliminate the ones that don't meet this criteria. So for example, it says that this column, the S, SID, and the RSD needs to be the same. And you see only these, the last row is the one that meets the qualification. And the first one, so you hear a 22 and a 22 over here, and then for example, these don't match. So it's just the first and the last. But then there is another condition that RBID is 103, so the 103 is here. So this is the only one that meets the condition. So again, first we do the Cartesian product, then we eliminate the ones that they don't meet this. So that means they're all eliminated, but we got the last one. And then we do the projection over name. So the answer will be what is highlighted over here. And that's just an idea of how that this is computed. Okay, now something else that we say when we were working with relational algebra is that we will use some range variables. Like in this case, for example, we say it's not actually required, but this is a very good practice. So we say, for example, sailors, we call that sailors S, reference R, and then we're using that as S, SID, R, SID. So this is a good practice, like for example, sailors has the attribute SID and research has the attribute SID. And then for example, if we don't do that, it will be like confusing which SID that what we're making, we refer to. So if we don't do the range variables, then we can do what we have here. They said, okay, sailors and reserves, and we don't have the S and the R, and then we say from sailors SID and reserves SID. Then we do that. Look at that, it wasn't needed for BID because BID, there is not a confusion. However, we want to use as a practice, and that's something that I told you that I want you to use, that we will be using the range variables in all, even though it's not indicated here as required in the textbook, we will still use it. Okay, so this is the first query that we have to have for our postings. I mean, we have something like this before. In this case, find sailors who reserve at least one vote. So we have the, in this case, I don't think they say what is it that they want from sailors. I mean, they are not very specific. So that listing this ID, and then this is what we will call that they are doing just a join, right? They have this, and then these two needs to match. And then with that, they have at least reserve a vote. So now I will copy this and see this will be a good answer for my first query on the exercises that I have. And I will see if this matches here. So you see in my question, so I'm pasting that, it says sailor's name, so I will change this SID for S name. And the next part is I will implement that in my Oracle account. Now, because you are using that from Quevedo, then we need to do the following: Quevedo and Quevedo. That. So I will pause for a second to implement that in my Oracle account, and then I will show you the results. So this is the result that I have while I'm implementing that. So look at that, I got some duplicate names, and actually we got two Horatios in the sailors database, but you can inspect the data by yourself. Now going back over here, remember in the case when I was copy and pasting, I noticed that I forgot to type the semicolon. Okay, so we're going back to the PowerPoint. And then let's see here, what we want to illustrate in this query is the use of expressions and strings. So for example, here we're just listing the age of sailors. Now, yes, I'm just going to spend a minute on the expressions. So look at that, the age from sailors, and I'm ignoring for a second, for a minute, what we have here in the where clause. So here we're listing the age, but here, look at that, I can have a variable, and then I can say, okay, this is age minus 5. Now, here is if I don't name this is will, I mean, that will be called expression number 1. So here I got age, and then here I have an expression that says 2 times as age as h2. Okay, so I will do the same. I will copy that information there. Oh, well, before I copy and paste it, there is something else that I have here that says that the name like this. So this is what we call actually a regular expression. And this, in the regular expression says, okay, this needs to match something like the following. It starts with a B, and then it has at least one character after the B, and then the percentage has 0 or more characters and ends with a B. So if there is something that matches that, then that's the names that I want. Okay, I copy and pasted the query from here, and then I modify it as needed. So now notice that what I have here in my second query, I'm asking for age, and then age times, this will be age, well, since I say times 5, let's take away that minus and say times. And then now in the PowerPoint, you remember it says h1 equals sh minus 5, right? Then look at that, I have here to try to name it. Now in my Oracle account, that's not allowed, so I'm taking that away, and I want you to see how that makes the difference. Now here the 2 times sh, I'm renaming that column as h2, and then I'm reading from my table that is located in the account Quevedo. Now, something else that I change, it says here is name like starts with a V and ends with a B, right? But it's uppercase and uppercase. Now I'm changing that to lowercase. Why? Because in the table that I created, it has all lowercase, so this is case sensitive. Otherwise, we won't find anyone. And then that's the name. So what I will do now is copy that and paste that in my account. And this is what I want you to see. For example, here I didn't rename the column. So here, for example, is H, so this is okay. But this is an expression, so it's just listing the expression as H times I. And then here is using the H as H2, which is this. So that's the way that we can rename doing that. And then the name, I think, of the person is just one, which is Bob. So we can find that is select. So it starts with a B and ends with a B. There is one with the name Bob. Select S name from Quevedo dot sailors. You see, this is the one that I'm talking about. Okay, so now let's see the next. In algebra, we also were practicing with intersection and union, the set operators, remember, and the set difference. So this is very helpful for type of queries, especially the intersection when it says an and or when it says not in. So here we're talking about the union. So for example, for this query, it says find SID of sailors, where it says red or green boat. And here we have multiple solutions. So one of those is we can do a join sailors because we want the sailors IDs. Actually, uh, if we want the name, I mean, because we don't really need the sailors ID is here in reserve. We don't really need sailors or what they have. I think what they meant is the name, and that's what I'm asking on mine. But I mean, just doing the join on reserve with boats, we can get this, and then we can specify color red or green. Now, we like to show this example with the or first because the example that is coming next is going to be the n, and then the n, most people will try to change that for an n. And I said that before when we were in algebra, that that will be invalid because a color cannot be red and green at the same time because we will have multiple values in the relational system. So then this is a good answer, but another good answer is just doing the selection the red and then selecting the green, and then we do the union. So let's now implement that. And look at in my implementation for number 3. I deleted sailors because actually we don't need any information from sailors. We don't need name or we don't need anything else. I mean, using reserves is enough because reserves has the SID. So I'm using the union implementation, and then what I'm doing is copy and pasting that implementation into my Oracle account, and this is the answer that I see. I just want you to verify. So I will continue in the next tutorial with the answer of the other 4 queries. Thank you.